Hello and welcome to another video. Join me today because we're gonna go for a search for a plant. We're not in our plot, we're in another place today, and I want to talk to you about plantain. We're gonna look for the plant, talk about its properties, so follow me. So, as I was telling you earlier, I wanted to talk about this plant because I find it really useful, and I think it's one of the best plants that you can know as a beginner plant user and forager. It is very easy to find. For example, here I am in a public park and you can find it in a lot of places, and here in this place, in fact, is mixed with other vegetation, and in or among all the flowers or other plants with a similar growth habit, it's very easy to distinguish it. For example, you can see this one here may have a similar growing habit, but it's quite different. You can see the appearance. Okay, so for example, here it's one, and here is the plantain. So the one that is really common here in Portugal is the Plantain minor or Plantain lanceolata. That is the Latin name, and you can see why. It has its leaves as if they're like lance shaped. The other name in English is Narrowleaf plantain. This one is more common here. People normally plant it in lawns, or they plant it for the rabbits. And another common name, it's lingua de ovella, which is like sheep's tongue or something of the sort, and they call it as well siete veias, which means 7 veins. Now this is very easy to know why. The plant, if you pick a leaf, it's like this on the front. Let me see to focus it. Probably it will be easier this way. Yeah, so you can see that if we count, if we turn it and we count, it normally has, according to its growth, of course, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it can have more, probably from 5 to 7 veins, or other number lower, for example from 3 to 7, whatever. Well, it will depend probably on the size of the plant. So you can see that here in the front you can really see the veins, but when you turn it at the back part, they're very prominent, and this is what brings its common name here, sete veias, like 7 veins. It is very used for colds and for digestive issues, I mean here in Portugal. Now, in general, this plant is said to have a lot of properties for everything. You can use it, for example, if you have eye soreness. You can prepare a poultice for all kinds of bites. I have read and seen videos about people using these leaves together with avocado or coconut oil to treat skin issues like burns, eczema, and other ailments. And there are a lot of recipes that you can find online as well, that of people who prepare salves, so you can use them on your skin. It is a really nice plant, apart from its usefulness. Of course, if you have it in the garden, you can always grab a leaf, Who hasn't been stung by a bee or a wasp? I have been in the garden, and this is really useful to have around. And there are several different ways that you can prepare it. You can either rub it, or you can stick it in your mouth and chew it, and obviously like prepare a poultice. Now here comes a warning. For example, here I am in a park. You can see that there's plenty of it, like here and here and here on this side. But you have to keep in mind, if you pick anything from a park, you will have to be aware that it is very important not to pick from sites that can be contaminated. So imagine that there have been people who pass with dogs, or I'm not gonna say people who can pee in a place or anything of the sort, because this obviously it's not good and it can cause contamination to the things you're picking. So always be aware of where you pick, and of course try to identify very well the plant. Now this one is really easy to identify. Let's look at it again. So it has this lance-shaped leaf. Let's get it right into focus. Yeah, and you can see that it has very prominent veins at the back of the leaf. The broadleaf plantain, the other type that is very common here in Portugal, has a leaf that is very similar, but it's rounder, and the space between the veins is wider as well. Another way that you can distinguish this one is if you break it. Oops, that can be tricky. Let me do it. Okay, not easy to do that with one hand, but as you can see, if you break a leaf, you will have like a string that still connects the two parts. So this is one of the ways that you can distinguish this plant. A lot of people describe it as bitter taste. Now you will imagine by its digestive use that all the bitter herbs have very similar properties. Bitter herbs are good. They aid digestion in general, and they're good for the liver, which is very, very important. And I know people who don't like it because it's bitter, but I think, as a lot of people say, you have to eat your bitters. Like, it is really important that we have to accustom our taste to things that are not only salty or sweet. I'm not saying eat great quantities, but for example, a leaf this size, you can see more or less it's not too big nor too small. Probably it's a little bit tough already for the taste of other people. For example, this is the perfect size that I would use it in a salad, for example. But I have used older leaves and tougher ones, for example, in an egg omelette or cut in a soup. You can brew it in tea, obviously, either green or dried. And in general, I think it's wonderful. I really like the taste. I think it aids digestion, as they say. I have tried it a couple of times on nettle stinks, and it helps. And other thing that you can use for nettle stinks is common mallow, or Malva sylvestris. We can talk about it as well. For now, I would like to introduce you to this wonderful plant. I will leave you more resources in the description. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a wonderful week and all the best. See you in the next one.